Good evening and welcome to our Thursday evening live webinar. And I know it's morning for you, dear Miriam in New Zealand, and welcome to you and to those who've not logged in. We're going to share with you this evening some of the wonderful works of the late Father John O Donoghue. And the book I've been guided to start off this series of webinars is the book called To Bless the Space Between Us. I'm guided to look at the back cover and read to you some of the comments from various people who've read this, and they say, The Times from London says, John O Donoghue is a man of the soul. His scholarly meditation on the continuing relevance of Ireland's spiritual heritage has become a publishing phenomenon. And in the Publishers Weekly they say, a lively spiritual companion to all Celts, or to those who are Celtic in their hearts. And then we read Daniel Brinkley, author of Saved by the Light and At Peace in the Light. This beautifully written book proves that tireless wisdom can bring an amazing understanding about ourselves and the world around us, even today. And Larry Dossey, MD, author of Be Careful What You Pray For, Anam Cara is a radiant source of wisdom, a link between the human and the divine. This work is a blessed, rare gem. And yes, when John died, he left a void in so many lives because he touched a myriad of lives around the world. And many of us clung to his every word because everything he shared resonated with our heart. Now, I'm going to jump ahead several chapters just to read this section and then come back to where we were last evening. This section is called The Inner Friends of the Heart. And John said, it is such a privilege to have people who continue each day to bless us with their love and their prayer. These inner friends of the heart confer on us inestimable gifts. In these times of greed and externality, there is such unusual beauty in having friends who practice profound faithfulness to us, praying for us each day without ever knowing or remembering it. There are often lonesome frontiers we could never endure or even cross without the inner sheltering of these friends. It is hard to live a true life that endeavors to be faithful to its own calling and not become haunted by the ghosts of negativity. Therefore, it is not a luxury to have such friends. John said, it is a necessity to have such friends. He says, I've always loved the shy beauty of country people who have quietly made their lives sacred. Their presence has the feel of unaffected authenticity. Theirs is a spirituality that draws no attention to itself. It is more beautiful than most institutional religious decorum or studied spirituality. These people have often lived through great difficulty, but their quiet and subtle lives never saw any need for brash declarations of spirit. Rather, they exhibited the shyness that is natural to the soul itself. Much modern spirituality and psychology is full of loneliness. Much of it is the fruit of emptiness. It has not grown naturally from minds conversant with the eras of the earth. It lacks the rhythm and belonging of a true ecology of the heart. It has a hunger at its core that inevitably breeds narcissism and the mechanics of relentless self-observation, whereas the spirituality of the country people seems always to issue from a sense of belonging to a deeper, more ultimate order. They see life as an act of creative service and the world as called to full participation. Theirs is a lifetime infused with blessings. There are blessings for putting down the fire in the morning, blessings before and after meals, blessings for the start of work, blessings for the person who meet you, blessings for the gifts a day brought, blessings of acceptance for the untoward elements that arrived, blessings for health, journeys, animals, and blessings for the dead. This weave of blessings is a constant activity of what is now called mindfulness, a recognition of the miracle of being here on the constant shoreline of pure arrival. These blessings are also an acceptance of the transitory and terminal nature of all gifts that have arrived. They need not have come. It is also recognition that the spaces of home and landscape are the apertures through which divinity emerges to enfold us. The spirituality of the rural mind does not see time as routine or treadmill. Time is a far more precious space where crevices open into the infinite and where the rhythm of the eternal is felt to preside. I imagine that one of the great storehouses of blessing is the invisible neighborhood where the dead dwell. Our friends among the dead now live where time and space are transfigured. They behold us now in ways they never could have when they lived beside us on earth. Because they live near the source of destiny, their blessings for us are accurate and penetrating, offering a divine illumination not available according to the calculations of the given visible world. Perhaps one of the surprises of death will be a retrospective view of the lives we've lived here, and to see how our friends among the dead clothed us in weave after weave of blessing. In folk culture, there is a huge power attributed to the curse. When invoked, a curse could kill someone. If dark intent can travel the negative path to hit its target, should the bright intention not be as capable of traveling the creative path to heal the loved one. It is impossible to underestimate the power of the human mind and the forces it can unleash. It seems that when a person finds himself in extremes and gathers his mind and calls out, something comes awake in the highest regions of destiny. Time behaves differently when blessings is invoked. Those words are so powerful, so pure. And when you reflect upon the simplicity of the country people who are not engrossed in materialism or greed or self-centeredness, but they have a much simpler way of looking at life. And regarding their relationship with God, they don't need proof. They know. It's an intuitive knowing, because many of them work the earth. Most country people have a small holding, or did have. And that small holding gave them the food to feed their family. It gave them the richness to be that beautiful, unique child of God. And many of us in the Western world have lost our uniqueness, don't you think? We've become pretty absorbed by all the pressures that are put before us from the TV screen, from the newspapers and magazines, even neighbors. So how do we get back to that place of simplicity of blessing? We carry on reading John's book. And where we finished last evening, we're now going to resume. He talks about the artist at the start of the day. May morning be astir with the harvest of night, your mind quickening to the eros of a new question, your eyes seduced by some unintended glimpse that cut right through the surface to a source. May this be a morning of innocent beginning, when the gift within you slips clear of the sticky web of the personal, with its hurt and its hauntings and fixed fortress corners. A morning when you become a pure vessel for what wants to ascend from silence. May your imagination know the grace of perfect danger, to reach beyond imitation and the wheel of repetition, deep into the call of all, the unfinished and unsolved, until the veil of the unknown yields and something original begins to stir toward your senses and grow stronger in your heart. In order to come to birth in a clean line of form that claims from time a rhythm not yet heard, that calls space to a different shape. May it be its own force field and dwell uniquely between the heart and the light, to surprise the hungry eye by how deftly it fits about its secret loss. And we're going to read one more, and it's called For a New Home. May this house shelter your life. When you come in home here, may all the weight of the world fall from your shoulders. May your heart be tranquil here, blessed by peace the world cannot give. May this home be a lucky place where the graces your life desires always finds the pathway to your door. May nothing destructive ever cross your threshold. May this be a safe place full of understanding and acceptance, when you can be as you are without the need of any mask of pretense or image. May this home be a place of discovery, where the possibilities that sleep in the day of your soul can emerge to deepen and refine your vision for all that is yet to come to birth. May it be a house of courage, where healing and growth are loved, where dignity and forgiveness prevail, a home where patience of spirit is prized, and the sight of the destination is never lost. Though the journey be difficult and slow, may there be great delight around this hearth. May it be a house of welcome for the broken and diminished. May you have the eyes to see that no visitor arrives without a gift, and no guest leaves without a blessing. I'm going to read that last sentence again. May you have the eyes to see that no visitor arrives without a gift, and no guest leaves without a blessing. Wow. So let us just reflect, relax, and unwind. Just be still now. Let us imagine the birthplace of John, Connemara, the western part of Ireland, where the Atlantic Ocean graces its shores with the most magnificent waves and storms the eye could ever see. And the nearest land is America, quite a vast ocean between Connemara, the west of Ireland, and its neighboring port, the USA. Just find yourself walking along a small country lane, looking down at the ocean. It is a beautiful day, and you can feel the surge of the sea breeze in your face. And as you're walking, you notice some of the local farmers are busy in their fields, raking in the hay to be the fodder for their animals over winter. And they're curious. Being of simple mind, they really want to know who you are. And they want to be of service to you. So they ask you not to go further, but to wait for one of them to come. But not one came. They all came. And they were as enthused about you as you are about them. They wanted to know your name, where you came from, and what are you here for? And when you began to ask them who they were, you could see they were uncomfortable. For they've never been asked questions like that before. So you answer as best you can. And he called you to come closer and asks you to join them for a simple meal of buttermilk and homemade soda bread. That is their lunch for today. A good, healthy, nutritious meal full of vitamin B12 and iodine. And buttermilk left over is good for the skin, for its proteins feed the skin, and it stops the harmful rays of the sun bleaching the skin. And you notice that with the women, how beautiful their skin is, because they wash their face in buttermilk, as many nuns did up until the 60s. Instead of using fancy smelling soap, they use buttermilk. And you're here, meandering along the cusp of the Atlantic Ocean, and you meet these beautiful people, a simple people, a kind people. And you're intrigued by their generosity of spirit, because you've never encountered this before living in a busy city. They invite you to sit on a makeshift stool, which is a box turned upside down. And there's no need for a campfire because it's a very hot day. And they place you a piece of slate as a plate. And on that slate, there's a piece of homemade soda bread and homemade jam. And a big pitcher of buttermilk. And they just say, get stuck in. And you do. And you ask them, are they aware of where John is buried? The late Father John O Donoghue. And they say yes. He's buried just around the bend in an idyllic spot facing the Atlantic, in a plot in the ruins of an old ancient Celtic monastery, which he visited many times as a little boy. But why do you ask? They said. Because I have fallen in love with God through his teachings and his writings. And I've traveled far, from great lands of wealth, but lands of poverty, where many are so rich they're spiritually poor, where they have everything but really have nothing, because they're searching for a meaning and a purpose to their life, and that purpose is God. God within, God without, and God all around us in this cathedral of light. Relax and allow the love of this simple people reawaken in your heart the simplicity of being who you are and not pretending to be what they want you to be. Just come as you are, warts and all. And in doing so, you're aware that this small group of elderly people who are tilling the land because their young ones have left them for the city to make megabucks, but they gather round you and they ask you for a blessing, and you bless them. And now it's your turn to ask for their blessing. They join hands and form a circle around you, and they speak in their native Celtic tongue. And then they translate it in English. O lily white, O pure light, we bless you. We bless the ground you walk on. We bless the heart that beats within for the Christ light to shine so bright, because you are unique to him. When you hear these words, immediately your heart beats faster, because the words were from Jesus the Christ. For these people cannot read or write, and though they would be called illiterate, they're more learned than many of the wise ones in university. For they don't need the Bible to read. They just place their hands on the ground and pick up the shamrock, the 3-leaf shamrock. And then they begin to share their story of a simple faith in a loving God. And as you part friends with a blessing. I want you to imagine this and treasure this. As you leave, you feel you're leaving soul friends behind. But one day you will meet again. But nonetheless, you are leaving a small group of people who loved you for you, who embraced the Christ within you, and who shared their meager belongings, as if inviting you to a banquet of endless love. And you are refreshed now in your mind, in your body and spirit. Be still and relax and just be. And now, dear friends, I bring you to the end of our live webinar. We've just done our 30 minutes, and I want you to treasure what we've shared with you. And I look forward to your company again soon. But for now, I wish you Namaste, Shalom, Inshallah, Pax et Bonum, OmShanti, Solo di Caritas, Salam Alaikum, peace. And I want to conclude now with a beautiful video clip, and it's called Irish Blessings. Enjoy. And may the late Father John O Donoghue rest in the peace and in the loving arms of Christ, and know that his works live on in our hearts. Amen.